Hello, everyone. My guest today has a wealth of experience in the sport. He's also a local favorite here in the Houston area, and he'll be fighting February 16th at Fury FC 22. Welcome to the show, Mr. Colin Wright. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Absolutely, man. So, Colin, are you from the Houston area?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I was born in California, but I've kind of bounced all over the place and mostly settled here in Houston. So,
Okay. When
yeah.
did you come to Houston?
Uh, Man, I was 19 or 18 when I came here.
Oh,
So,
okay.
uh, been here ever since. And then I was here off and on for a couple of years in my younger years too. So,
So, most of your formative years have been in Houston.
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'd like to ask all the fighters I talked to the first time, what was sort of your inspiration to get into martial arts in the first place?
Well, first of all, I'd always been in martial arts. I was a really hyperactive kid, so my parents put me in like karate and taekwondo early on. So that was something that was always consistent. And then, to be honest, I got bullied a lot, and I went to military school and I started doing some judo and learned the effectiveness of like grappling. And then I did a boxing smoker and quickly realized how inefficient I was at striking. And then it just kind of progressed from there. I was like sitting in my apartment when I was like 19, was just complete bumming it up. And the UFC came on, and I'd never seen it before. And I remember watching the Forrest Griffin Stephen Bonner fight and thinking like, this was like, man, I got to try this. This is like the real deal. This is like what I always grew up watching or like wanting out of martial arts, but never really felt like anyone art like offered it to me. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
everything was so incomplete. And so this was like, to me, this was like the ultimate, this was like the real deal. So like I joined a gym, and like 2 weeks later, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So
So you weren't
yeah.
even training when you saw that fight come on. That's what inspired you to go to the gym and pick it back up again?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cause I knew I was missing martial arts, and I knew I needed some kind of structure in my life. Like I said, I was just like, I was literally living in like a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom apartment with like 12 guys, and none of us had a job. We were partying all the time. It was just awful. And,
It was a
but
blast. Don't lie. It was a blast.
yeah, it was at the time for sure, for sure.
Right.
But
Looking back, yeah. Hindsight's
yeah, definitely,
2020, right?
yeah, definitely not the most productive way to spend your time. So it gave me something to focus on, and I had to pay my bills, like I had to pay my gym dues, so that gave me a reason to go to work, and like it just like really it gave me the structure I needed. So um, and I love it. I just love everything about it. So
Awesome, man. So how did that develop into sort of being your lifestyle? Just over time, you just started putting it together, or?
yeah, I don't know. I got into it like real early in the sport, and so like it was just around the time when like fighters were making money, and I was thinking to myself, like the field's not that saturated. I may not be like a stud athlete or anything, but I'm persistent, and I'm tough, and and I'm a quick learner. So like I just figured if I kept at it, like I could get to the UFC. And I definitely know I'm on par with those kinds of guys now. But I've definitely had some mental lapse, and so I'm excited for this one because it's kind of me getting back on track, and this is the most amped I've ever felt for a fight. So I'm really excited for this one coming up.
Your opponent is Carlos Malara. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Uh, what do you know about your opponent, and how do you like that matchup?
He's mostly a brawler. He trains. He trains under Cyborg out at Shuta Box is his primary gym. From what I understand, he's been a little bit nomadic the last year or so because Cyborg hasn't really been here that much. Um, I know that he's kind of a brawler on the feet. He's nice and long, and he's definitely explosive. Hits hard, but I feel like he kind of like telegraphs his shots, and he's kind of sloppy on the mat too. So I like the matchup a lot, to be honest. I have a I have a deep, arsenal of tricks up my sleeve. So I'm excited to exploit what I perceive as some of his weaknesses.
How would you describe your fighting style?
Definitely aggressive, at least when I'm performing, if you look at all my best performances, I just get in people's faces and I just kind of wear them down with my desire to win. I get in there. I really like clinching along the fence, and just dragging guys into deep waters. I just like beating people up and just kind of like slowly draining their energy and just wearing on them and putting a pace on them that they can't keep up with. It's usually
That's
it's usually how I get my wins, or I submit them in the process.
right, right. So your home training camp is at Paradigm, is that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely my primary gym. Proud to represent them. That's an awesome gym. Phenomenal grappling. The MMA team is phenomenal. It's been it's been through a couple different cycles of guys, and every group of guys has their own unique set of skills, and we've done really well. Especially lately, I really feel like it's probably the strongest MMA gym in Houston right now. It's not, and I don't mean to like be braggadocious. It's just consistently we've been putting out really top level amateurs and some good up and coming pros as well. So I'm just real proud of what we've been doing over there.
Right. You guys have Itzel, Juan, also Dulani, Karate Dulani, right?
Yep. And then we got Tim. Tim is he's a top level amateur. He's going through a little shoulder or elbow injury right now, but when he comes back, he'll be a force to reckon with at 155 too. And then we've got my buddy Douglas. He's from Cuba. Kid is a monster. I mean, and one of the hardest workers you'll ever see. That kid is there from like 11 o'clock in the morning until like they close at night. Like it's crazy how much that guy trains. So he's been a force to reckon with at 185, or 170. Yeah, he got down to 170. Kid's huge. He came to us at like 215 pounds. Now he's down at 170. He's just wrecking guys. So
Awesome. It's good to have those training partners in the room, right?
definitely pushing you. They're fresh guys, so they push the pace, put a lot of energy out there, and they're quick learners too. So definitely, it's been good to have them around for sure.
Do you enjoy kind of being one of those senior guys in the room, being able to give back to those younger guys?
Yeah, man. One thing I really enjoy is teaching. I really feel like I have a good knack for it, and I'm pretty good at articulating, techniques and stuff like that. And I do love that aspect of it. It is difficult. I was actually a coach at Paradigm for a long time, and I was really struggling with balancing being like a full-time coach and a full-time fighter, because and actually one of my old coaches explained this to me. He was like, the reason it's so hard is because as a coach, you have to be selfless and give. And then as a fighter, you have to be selfish and like, you kind of have to be like, focus on me. This is my fight. It's my time. So it's just two different modalities, and it's very hard to switch between the two. And so, it's something I definitely look forward to it's something I enjoy doing, but it's something I look forward to doing a lot more of, especially when I retire. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, they're completely different dynamics. Which do you enjoy more? But I guess you could experience both of them at different stages of your career, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's just, I'm enjoying helping as much as I can. It's definitely something like even if I go train in another gym, maybe it's not PC to do, but like if I can, like I always try to share some kind of knowledge with whoever I'm training with, just because, I appreciate the work that they're giving me. I appreciate that they brought me into their gym, and in any way I can give back, and that's usually the best way I can give back, because that's what I have to offer. So.
Absolutely. So every camp is a little different, and I'm sure this one had a certain focus. What was your focus for this camp?
My main focus was just getting back to being me. In my last few fights, I was really distracted, to be honest, outside of fighting, and it cost me, I mean, it just cost me. I mean, I just wasn't focused, so I was focused more on like just going through the motions. I was doing a lot of striking training. I wasn't grappling hardly at all. And I also wasn't like pushing my cardio real hard. I was just I was still training hard, but I knew I wasn't like progressing, I was just kind of like stagnating. And so a lot of what made me a good fighter before was just being aggressive, pushing the pace on guys. And so I had to get kind of back to that. So, I'm not too worried about anything my opponent's going to do specifically. So I just have to be in really good shape and be ready to push the pace all 3 rounds, so that's basically what I focused on.
Sort of solidifying your own game plan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you see the fight going?
I see it either. I think I'm either going to sub him in the first round, to be honest, or I'll grind him out in a 3-round, or maybe even TKO him somewhere in the later rounds. I really feel like my ground and pound, especially right now, is on a really high level, and I feel like if I can wear on him for 3 rounds, and I think I can open up a TKO opportunity as well. So whatever he gives me.
There you go. I love it, man. So the year's just starting out. This is your first fight of the year. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself at the end of the year, at the end of 2018?
Man, I got big goals for this year. I want my goal on paper is 5 fights, 5 wins, and then preferably either in line for a pro belt or winning a pro belt. I actually just got offered one in Arizona. I don't know if I'm going to take it. It's against a former UFC guy, and I'm trying to build some wins right now. So I don't know if it's the right fight right now, but definitely later in the year, I want to be in position to win a pro title. So that's where I'm.
That would be awesome.
Thank you.
Can you say who it might be against?
Yeah, his name is Roman Salazar. He fought. I know he fought at 135 in the UFC, and the fight would be at 135. So, and then that's the other thing. I haven't cut that much weight in a while. So, in the last 2 or 3 times, it's been pretty difficult getting down there. So,
I was going to say, you're kind of a big featherweight. I feel like going down to bantamweight would be a stretch, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a stretch. I did most of my career at 35, but when I picked that weight class initially, I was walking around at like 143. And now I walk around at like 165, so
right.
It's quite a
times have changed, right?
Quite a different weight cut now. So yeah.
So I'm sure you know that UFC Austin is in just a couple weeks up the road.
Yeah.
Are you planning on going up there and watching the fights?
Man, I would love to. I think that would be a really cool experience. I know Derek Lewis is on that card. I love that guy. He's one of the funniest dudes you'll ever meet. And, just
he's
really,
hilarious.
Really nice, humble guy. I run into him a lot. Over at Houston Muay Thai. But and I love watching him fight. He's a banger. He loves to just slug it out. And he comes up trumps most of the time. So it's good to watch him. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to get some tickets and go out there for sure.
Are you a big fight fan?
Oh yeah, man. Although if I'm being honest, like I don't keep up with it nearly as much as I used to. Like, when I first got into it, it was like Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. Those were the big guys. And like, I could tell you pretty much anybody that was fighting the UFC knew their records, knew who they fought, who they lost against, how they lost, all that. But man, it's too saturated now. I can't keep up with it, but I do love watching the fights. Especially if it's a good technical brawl, there's nothing more exciting than that for me.
Is there anybody specific that you looked up to when you were growing up, or that you still have respect for in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think it changes from time to time. It's just like kind of whatever's catching my attention. I used to love BJ back in the day. I loved the old Pride fights. Those were really fun to watch. Trying to think of who else specifically. I think I really liked the WEC when that was big. Because those were my weight classes. And when I first got into sport, like Bantamweight wasn't even a weight class. Like that wasn't a recognizable weight class. So when the WEC got big, that was like, for me, that was a big deal. I was like, hey, they got a big promotion that's televised for the little guys. And then the UFC absolved that, and I was super excited about that. Not thrilled 100% on how they've handled it so far, but it's better than being on Spike for WEC or whatever. But man, those were some exciting fights back in the day. So
Awesome, man. I love it, brother. Well, Colin, I appreciate you giving me some of your time today, man, and it was great to get to know you a little bit. Before I let you go, whenever I'm heading to the gym, I always like to listen to like something motivational, kind of on the way to the gym. Is there anything you've been listening to on the way to the gym or while you're getting your runs in that you've been jamming to a lot lately?
Yeah, I really like Joe Rogan's podcasts. So sometimes, like if he's got a good guest on, I like listening to that. The Ben Askren one was actually really phenomenal, and there were some like really, really cool mental things he was talking about on there. So that one really got me juiced. And then there was another one he had also that was really good. I forgot who the other person was, but yeah, anything Joe Rogan, and then a song I've been jamming a little bit. It's the Drake song, and I hate Drake usually, but Energy, that song Energy by Drake. That one
Okay. I haven't heard it. I'll have to check it out. Or I might have heard it. I just don't know the name. You
probably heard it, but if I've heard it, you've probably heard it.
Right.
Yeah.
You talked about also that Joe Rogan podcast with Ben Askren. They talked about it was wrestling mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually,
Mike Moore.
One of the guys, yeah, exactly. Mike Moore at War Training Center. He's part of that. He's a big
shout out
contributor
to him, man.
to that.
He got me a worksheet. I'm working on it right now, so pretty excited about that.
Cool. Do you think you'll get involved with them as well?
Yeah, probably. I love anything about like mindset and stuff like that. I've done all kinds of stuff like that, and I'm always, like I said before, I'm not the most athletic guy, so I'm always looking for like any advantage I can get in a technical way, or like whether it's diet, nutrition, strength and conditioning, whatever. I'm always looking for like an edge. So like if it's mental, that's even better, So yeah, I'll probably get involved with that for sure.
Absolutely. The mental aspect is huge, right?
Absolutely. Totally underestimated.
Boom. All right, guys. Well, if you're in the Houston area, Friday, February 16th, don't miss it. It's Fury FC 22 from the Humble Civic Center in Humble, Texas. Colin Wright will be taking on Carlos Malera. Pick up your tickets at mikethetruth.com or give your boy a follow on social media and hit him up.